Okay, what's up, people? I wanted to just come on here and give a little bit of a life update. I just feel like I haven't been really that present on social media lately, and I feel like I just want to just kind of voice what's been going on and the different things that have been happening in my life. At the beginning of the year, I kind of felt like in my heart that it was time for a change of direction and a change of pace in my life. And so I had been working with a company. I was doing, I would say it was kind of like internal financial consulting. My official title was an operations analyst, and I just really truly wasn't happy with what I was doing, and I knew it wouldn't be a forever thing. So, after a lot of praying, a lot of internal reflection, and a lot of back and forth with my parents, I kind of decided it was in my best interest to maybe try and take the GMAT and go back to school. So I stepped away from my job, and then I spent the past few months actually just grinding on and studying for the GMAT. When I took the test, I did okay, not as good as I would have liked to do, and I didn't think it was going to be enough to get me into my dream school. So I went and took the GRE, which was another exam that you can take to try and get into business school. I didn't study for it at all, and I just took it blind, and I thought a lot of the things that I had studied would be transferable, and they were, and I ended up doing better on the GRE than I did on the GMAT. So I wasn't smart, and I only applied to one school. So I put all of my eggs into one basket. I didn't apply to a backup school, and I left my job. So if I didn't get into this school, I don't really know what I would have done. Sometimes that's a good move, to go all in on yourself and, bet on yourself and kind of say like, oh, if this doesn't work, then nothing will. But at the same time, like, that's really not a good move because it doesn't always pay off. Luckily for me, it did. And I got into what became a dream school for me out of nowhere, which was the University of Florida. It was the best MBA school in the state that I'm living in currently. So I ended up getting in, I got a scholarship, and I will be attending the University of Florida in the fall. So I'm going to be moving from just outside of Tampa Bay, Florida to Gainesville, Florida. And I'm very excited for this change of pace. I'm nervous, I'm scared, but I'm mostly excited because I know it's really going to set me aside. My cat just knocked over my lamp. Sorry about that. But with that, I've had a lot of different changes. So, I know going back to school is going to be very expensive. So going back to school is going to be really expensive. And so with that, I'm starting to just kind of budget my money and deciding on the things that are like really important to me and where my funds should be going. And so I've been working with a coach, very well-respected coach, a guy I look up to a lot, and I feel like I've learned a lot from as far as discipline and bodybuilding. And unfortunately, I've decided that, I'm going to be stepping away from my coach, and these next 2 years while I'm in school, I'm going to be writing my own diet and my own supplement plan and just trying to do things on my own, which is I'm also a little bit nervous about because for the past 3 years straight, I have always been coached by someone else since I started bodybuilding. So this is going to be the first time that I'm actually coaching myself. Again, I didn't have any bad blood with this coach. I think he did a phenomenal job. I think he is honestly one of the best in the industry, and I was very lucky to work with him. And I hope that when I graduate from school, he's willing to take me back. But getting and obtaining my MBA will be my full-time focus for these next 2 years, and then hopefully landing a dream job, possibly in investment banking or private equity, something along those lines would be the dream, or going back into consulting again. But during these 2 years, studying at school is going to be so mentally taxing and demanding that I know I'm not going to be getting ready for a show within those 2 years. So unless I'm getting ready for a show, I don't think it's absolutely necessary to have a coach. I think I'm well versed enough in the sport at this point where I can actually just write my own diet. And I know my body well enough where I can write my own workout plan, and I know specifically what's going to work for me. That being said, when I graduate, I do hope that he takes me back, just because I feel like, although sure you can coach yourself through a bulk pretty easily. I feel like it's more so the fact that when you have somebody watching over you, that really knows what they're doing, not only are they going to be honest with you, but they make sure that they keep you healthy. And then also, when someone's watching over you, I feel like you're a little bit more honest with yourself. Like if I have to report in every Monday, do check-ins every Monday to a coach who knows what he's doing, I'm going to feel a lot more guilty if I were to cheat on my diet plan and have to tell my coach on Monday, as compared to if I didn't have a coach and I just went and cheated on my plan because I felt like it and I have nobody to report to, if that makes sense. So that being said, although I won't be having a coach these next 2 years, I still will be following the plan. I'm still going to be bodybuilding, and I'm still going to be trying to put on muscle. I hope. Currently I'm weighing around average just under 225 pounds. I think my goal when I leave college will be to be above 245 pounds. So I think putting on 10 pounds per year in the next 2 years is very doable. Not saying that's all going to be muscle, obviously, but I think that is a good and reasonable goal to have. So as far as physically, yes, I'm going to be continuing the bodybuilding training, but another thing that I'm going to be looking to do is play college lacrosse at the University of Florida. So when I got my undergrad at Michigan State University, I tried out for the lacrosse team my freshman year. Lacrosse was always my first love, way before bodybuilding. In fact, I kind of felt like I got into well, I'll get into that later. But so my freshman year, I tried out for the lacrosse team and I made the team. But unfortunately they didn't let me play because I was joining a fraternity, and they decided on a rule that if you are in a fraternity, you're not allowed to play on the lacrosse team, which in my opinion, like, I understand, because they, wanted to win a national championship and they want everybody to be very committed. They don't want people missing for practice, for parties, or being hungover at practice, yada, yada. Makes total sense. So when I made the team, they told me I couldn't play because I was joining a fraternity. And of course, that year, my freshman year, Michigan State won the national championship. So I would have been a national championship champion, which actually really stinks, but everything happens for a reason. And I was still happy that I was in a fraternity. I had made a lot of great memories while I was there. So then my junior year rolls around. Or actually, no, it was either my sophomore or junior year. I can't remember, but my class, and I think a couple other classes, actually got in trouble for hazing. And then in my class alone, it was about roughly like 30 to 40 people. I was one of 3 or 4 people in my class that did not get kicked out of my fraternity. And although, I was still like wanting to be a part of my fraternity, I was never really close with people above or below my class. And so when my class kind of got kicked out, I didn't really feel as attached to my fraternity. So my mind immediately just went back to lacrosse and was like, okay, well, if I'm not in the fraternity really anymore, really a part of it, then I should go play on the lacrosse team again. Although I was still technically a part of the fraternity, I really wasn't in it. So I went and tried out for the lacrosse team, and I made it, and I had an absolutely amazing year. I loved every guy on that team. I loved being a part of the competitive atmosphere. I'm a very competitive person. And it kind of felt like I had rediscovered my passion all over again. It was probably some of the happiest days I had while I was in college. Unfortunately, this was 2019. So this was my junior year of college when I was on the team, and then COVID happened. So COVID came along, and long story short, our season got canceled. And then my senior year, there was no college season. So I still have eligibility. So when I go to the University of Florida, I'm going to try and walk on a lacrosse team and see what happens. It's going to be very weird and interesting because these past 3 years straight, I've been doing no running whatsoever. My body's not acclimated to pretty much a combat sport anymore. Contact sports, being dramatic, but I'm completely learning to train for running again. I haven't touched a lacrosse stick in I don't even know how long at this point. And so I have about half a season of lacrosse in me in the past 7 years. So I've got a lot of practice to do, a lot of making up to do before I can. Um, so I have a lot of work to do before I step back on the lacrosse field. Unfortunately, it's already June, and tryouts are going to be in September. So in order to kind of get my body back in the lacrosse groove, I've just been trying to slowly get back into running. I've been doing 3/4 of a mile this week. Next week, it's going to be a mile, 2 miles the following week. And then I'm going to try to get up to 3 miles in 3 weeks from now per day. And then when I feel like I'm comfortable with that, then I'm going to start getting back into field work, doing sprints, cone work, agility, ladder training, and so on. And honestly, I couldn't be more excited. You know, my main focus isn't going to be lacrosse while I'm at Florida. You know, it is a club sport. It's not Division I. Although they do take it very seriously, because at the club level, most colleges are a club. So at the Division I level, there's only 72, I believe, or around 70 D1 lacrosse teams. So the club level is still very competitive. And, you know, it's not something although I'm pretty, I would say, talented at lacrosse, it's not something I can just like walk into and just expect to be good at again. It will take work. But I'm confident I can get back, maybe not completely back to the level I was, but, maybe somewhere around there. And it's also going to be interesting because when I played lacrosse in college and I played lacrosse in high school, I weighed around like 178 pounds in high school and probably 185 pounds in college. And so for the past 3 years, I've been doing bodybuilding training, and I've put on about like 50 pounds. So, 40 pounds. And so it's going to be weird playing the game, this time around. I feel like I'm going to have to completely change the way I play to this style of my new body. But I'm actually very excited because the way I used to play was a very physical game. I was never a very shifty person. And so now actually carrying this extra weight, I think, is going to like help me on the field, bull dodging, rolling, running through picks, ground ball game. I was always a very scrappy player. And so I feel like having the extra poundage is actually really going to help me on the field. So it's pretty nice. At the moment, I'm not working and I'm just working out every day. So, I had all that pressure on me to get into the University of Florida, and I did it, and I got in, but classes don't start until August, so it's currently June. So it's pretty nice actually, just at the moment I feel like I finally have a little bit of time to myself to recollect and just focus on me and really make sure that I'm in a good headspace and I'm in a good spiritual place. Just all around, just ready to go and fire on all cylinders. I've been able to make it to church every Sunday, which I think has been absolutely crucial in just my journey and my soul searching. I think, I've done a lot of amazing things, but I don't think any of this would be possible without God. In the past year, I feel like with everything that's happened to me, just a lot of personal things that have happened, stuff that I'm not going to talk about, I just feel like finding myself in religion has really just been one of the biggest keys into my success. And just becoming the person that I want to be and being the role model for others. I've built a little bit of a following on social media, nothing crazy or to brag about, but, the people that do look to me for advice or, look up to me, I think showing them that I was able to do all these things through perseverance and perseverance through finding God is very important to me. But that being said, I feel like I've had a lot of ups and downs in the past couple years. Made a lot of new friends, lost a lot of friends, been through a lot of different relationships and dating and moving to Florida. It's so much different than being in Michigan. But I've just loved every single step of the way. And I've just loved the kind of person that I've become. And I just feel like all these trials and tribulations have just made me like a tougher person mentally. And I just can't wait for it to all come to fruition. And I feel like the University of Florida is going to be this amazing new chapter in my life where I'm going to get to experience so many new things and make so many new memories and friends. And I just can't wait for the future. I'm looking forward to every single thing that comes my way. And, I'm going to try and take advantage of as many opportunities as I can. and more than anything, make my parents, make my family, and then, make myself and make God proud of the person I'm becoming, and just keep moving forward and keeping my head up. So that's pretty much my life update. I'm probably forgetting some things that I wanted to talk about, but I just wanted this to be very casual and me just come on here and just give a very just an update on how I'm doing and how I'm feeling and things that I'm going through. And I'm sure there's many things that you feel like you're going through in your life, and a lot of times, you see other people that they're doing well, and you see that I'm getting into the University of Florida, and I'm saying all these things are happening to me that are great, but trust me, it hasn't been all sunshines and rainbows. I've had plenty of dark days. Not every single day was a win. I'm just happy to be sharing my experience now, and I'm just telling you, whatever it is that you're going through, whatever those feelings that you're feeling, the best thing you can do is just not give up on yourself. Everyone has bad days. That doesn't mean you're having a bad life, and just continue to push through. And I'm not going to talk to you about the things that I've been going through, but just know you're not alone. And just when you feel like you are kind of going through something, maybe you don't want to talk to people about it. I think the best way that I've been able to get through my personal vendettas or experiences, or dark days that I've had with myself is by really just focusing on a goal. You can spend all the time in the world just thinking about the problems you have, but that's not going to fix them. So, a big part about being, I think, a man is that you're going to have things that you want to complain about and things that suck. But if you just stew in them, or if you're just constantly complaining about them to other people, you're never actually truly going to get over them. So I think having a goal and actually taking your mind off of things and pursuing things is one of the best ways to move forward in your life. If you just sit there and you stew, all you're going to do is, you're just going to boil the pot and make it boil over to the point where you can't hold it in anymore, and you're going to fall apart. And I've been there plenty of times. It happens to all of us. Just know that there's brighter days ahead if you just keep pushing forward. Whew. Cheesy words aside. Okay, so I said I would come back and kind of say why I got into bodybuilding, so I just want to finish with that. So I feel like there's a few main reasons why people typically get into bodybuilding. I feel like one of them is sometimes people are maybe short or skinny, or they lack self-confidence, and so they kind of look to building their body physically to boost their mind. And I think that's a great idea, actually. I respect that a lot. I think the mind actually often follows the body. And so if for me, that wasn't why I got into bodybuilding. I think another big reason is maybe somebody's they were athletic, they played sports, and then they were always very much into the training aspect of their sports, and so then bodybuilding was just a way to kind of keep doing that. And I think some people just do it because it's fun. Some people do it to get girls, whatever your reason is. Actually, I've never really talked about this, and it's a little bit embarrassing, or at least I used to think it's embarrassing. It's really not, and I'm sure a lot of people are actually going through it and don't even know it. And so the reason that I got into bodybuilding, I had an old friend, and he was in bodybuilding. His parents were doctors, and so he was regularly checking up on his health, and one of the things that he would do often was get blood work, and that was never really something I do. I went and got my physical at the doctor, and that was pretty much it. But he was kind of saying to me, look, even if you aren't into bodybuilding, it's still important that you go get your blood work done, just to see how everything in your body is functioning. I'd been feeling kind of off for a while now, and this is still true, even if you aren't in bodybuilding, I still think you should go get your blood work done. That hasn't changed. But so this was literally at the end of college. I'd just been physically just kind of feeling off, emotionally just not right. And I went and got my blood work done, and it was showing that my cortisol levels were extremely high, and it was also showing that my testosterone levels were very, very low. I think they were either sub 200 or sub 100. And the average kid coming out of college should probably have at least around a 500 or above testosterone level. And so I immediately, instead of going to the doctor and showing them my blood results, He was into bodybuilding, so I kind of decided that I was going to self fix my issue, and just say, look, if I have to do these things to get my testosterone back to a normal level, well, then I might as well just go all in. And in hindsight, that was a terrible decision. That was a stupid kid coming out of college, not knowing what he was doing. But if I were to go back and change it, or if I could go back and change it, I don't think I would. I'm happy with my decision. Bodybuilding has been one of the absolute best things that has ever happened to me, and I love it to death. I wouldn't trade anything for it. And the reason I say that is just because, like I said earlier, in college, I was in a fraternity, which meant I was going out and I was drinking and I was partying a lot. And that was a big part of my college experience being at a Big Ten Division I school, was going out and having fun. And it didn't matter if it was Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, whatever day it was. I loved to party. I loved to have a good time. And it was sad just because I just kind of assumed that's what everybody was doing. I assumed that was the normal thing to do. And I don't think anything in my life was really going to change that until I got that blood work done, and until I decided that I wanted to be a bodybuilder. And I realized that, if I wanted to be good in the sport, and if I wanted to make a lot of gains in a short amount of time, because I was joining the sport so late as compared to people that had already been doing it all throughout college and I was playing catch up, the only way I was really going to be able to catch up to them was if I had a very regimented diet and I stopped drinking alcohol. That being said, I'm not completely sober, and I still drink from time to time, but it went from drinking weekly to maybe drinking, once a month or less. And so I'm very proud of that. And without bodybuilding, again, I would probably still be drinking, at least 1 to 2 times out of the week. And I'm not knocking people that do that. That's fine if that's your thing. But, I'm just very happy that that is a big part of my life that I no longer hold on to. And I think drinking alcohol for me personally, I think it was really holding me back from a lot of the success I could see in life. So although bodybuilding stopped me from drinking, it also helped me in a lot of other aspects of my life. And that was, if I wanted to bodybuild and I wanted to make time for the gym and I wanted to make time to eat 5 times a day, I had to be very regimented with my schedule. And so that meant with work, I was also becoming very more disciplined, and I was very more time oriented, which gave me a lot more free time, where I was able to get more chores done, where I started to keep my room cleaner, where I started to take better care of myself, washing my car, haircut, looking at my personal hygiene, making sure I'm taking care of myself, making sure I have time for others and the people that I care about. And so one reason why I've always pushed, and said good things about bodybuilding is because not only does it make you just very, how do I want to say it? Bodybuilding just makes you very disciplined. And, I just said that, but it's so true. In order to be good at bodybuilding, you have to be disciplined. And if you're that disciplined with something, that's going to translate to the rest of your life. It's kind of like the saying where you're a makeup of, the 5 closest people around you. Well, it's like when you're a bodybuilder, well, the 5 people closest to you are yourself. So, if you want to be a good bodybuilder, then you have to be a good person too. You have to be strict, and you have to be on top of your shit. And that's the bottom line. So that's why I got into bodybuilding. I don't regret the decisions I've made. In fact, I think if anything, bodybuilding has made me become a better person. It's made me become a healthier person, believe it or not. And I'm just very overall just in love with the sport. And although I'm going back to get my MBA and I'm going to be playing lacrosse, bodybuilding is still, a full-time job to me, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm still chasing the goal of becoming an IFBB pro. In what division yet, I'm not sure. For now, I just want to get as big and muscular as I can these next couple of years, and then I'll worry about that when the time comes. So that's my little rant. That's my little life update. I hope, year 2024 is going good so far. It's crazy to think that we're already halfway through, but we still have another 6 months. But, all you can do is take it one day at a time, one step at a time, focus on the here and now, focus on your short-term goals, and keep your long-term goals in mind. And we're so unbelievably blessed to have this life that we do. And I just hope that you are making the absolute most of it and you chase those goals and you take that thing, whatever it is that gets you out of bed in the morning, and you go at it full force. For me, that's bodybuilding. It doesn't have to be bodybuilding for you. It can just be something that makes you happy, something that brings you joy, and you just feel like it does a lot for you. And I just, every single day, I'm just thankful for the opportunities I have. And I'm just thankful that I have this platform where I can go on and spread this motivation and this passion and this love to others. So that being said, go get them, Tiger.